Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to study about the Python interpreter. Okay. In the previous lecture, we have already studied the first unit, which is whetting your appetite. Okay. So in this lecture, we will study about the Python interpreter, a brief introduction that where it is present, how can we access, and um, how we can write code in that. Okay. So here the first unit is about invoking the interpreter, right? So, okay, overall, what is an interpreter? So, a short description, if I say, interpreter is just like a software, okay, which converts the Python source code to some other target code, okay, which is some low level code, right? And for doing that, multiple other processes are there, okay, internal, that is like parsing, okay, then error checking and many things, syntax and all, semantic analysis. So many things are there in the entire process, so we will not get into that as of now, but that is the overall job of an interpreter, of taking the source code and converting it to the target code. Okay. All right. So now the question is that how can we invoke the interpreter, right? So generally when you're installing interpreter in your system, then this is the location where it is saved. Okay. So in your Unix shell, right? If you're using Unix operating system, then in that shell, if you write this particular location, then most probably you will be able to access the Python interpreter. Okay. So after that, you can type this command. After you are present in this particular location, you can type this command and then your interpreter will start. Okay. So how to understand that the interpreter will start, that we will see in some time. Okay. But before that, again, it is not very mandatory that exactly it will be present in this location only. There can be some changes, so you have to see it according to your system. Okay. All right. Now, coming to Windows machines, if you have installed Python using Microsoft Store, in that case, you will get this command. So this command you will be having. Using this, you can invoke your operating system. Interpreter. Okay. And also, if you're having, let us say, py.exe launcher, in that case, you will directly get the py command. So just by using this py command, you can invoke the interpreter. Okay. And other detailing, if you want, then you can go to this link and you can see the other ways of launching Python. Okay. So since everything is given here and lot of stuffs and information is also present in internet of how to install, how to launch, so that is why I'm not making a dedicated video of that, showing the installing and launching process and everything. But if you need help in that, if you're facing any doubt, then you can ask me in the comment, so I will try my best to help you. Now after that, let us say you have invoked, right? For invoking, you will write this command. So let us say you have invoked the interpreter and you have done some working, right? I will show you that in some time. But let us say some instructions you have written and you have executed. Now your work is complete. So after that, you will have to come out of that interpreter, right? So for that, you have to type an end of file character, okay? Which in Unix, if you're using, then you have to type Control D, and if you're using Windows, then you have to type Control Z. Okay. So in this case, if you're typing these commands, then what will happen? The interpreter, it causes the interpreter to exit with a zero exit status. Okay. So with zero exit status, the interpreter gets removed. Okay. So zero exit means successfully everything is terminating. That is the meaning. Okay. Now the thing is that if, let us say, by chance your these these commands are not working, in that case you can also type quit like this, okay, and open and close parenthesis. In this, definitely your Python interpreter will get removed. Okay. All right. Now also some of the interpreters comes with line editing feature, okay, in which you can do interactive editing. You can also do history substitution and code completion. Okay, that means some line you have written, you can go back to that and you can do some editing. Okay, but only if those libraries, okay, and code completion on systems that support the GNU readline library. Okay, so that means those systems which support this library, only those interpreters can have this line editing feature. Okay, so you can go to this library and you can check that your system configurations are matching with this or not. If matching, that means your interpreter is also supporting this, otherwise not. Okay, so that is little bit complicated step, right? If you want to have some simple method, then the quickest method is that you go to your command line, okay, and then you type control P. Okay, this command, that is control P, you have to type, and after that, if you get a beeping sound, okay, that means you can do command line editing. So that is a positive feedback to you that yes, you can do command line editing. Okay, and exactly how to do that interactive input editing, history substitution, how to do all these things, for that this link is present. You can go to that and you can check out all the details. Okay, since I am right now going one by one for the tutorial, so I'm not getting into those things. Maybe in some later upcoming lectures we can see that. Okay, and otherwise, so let us say if the beeping sound is not coming or nothing is happening, okay, or let us say this is the string which is getting displayed on the screen, so this means that the command line editing is not available. Okay, so if you're getting this, or let us say nothing is happening, then that means command line editing is not available. Okay, so in this case only you can use backspace. Okay, this is the only editing you can do, that you're writing some line, and um, by backspace you can remove the characters from the end of the line. So only that much editing is possible. Otherwise you cannot go to the middle of the line or beginning of the line and do something. Okay, that is not possible if you are not having this line editing feature. Okay, so I hope it is clear. Now, what is there, that the interpreter which we are talking about, that operates somewhat like Unix shell. So if you are having experience in working with Unix shell, then you can work with interpreter also very easily. They are quite similar. Okay. And when you're calling the Unix shell, means the interpreter and all, with standard input, which is connected to a TTY device. TTY means tele typewriter. Okay, so some tele typewriter device is there and standard input is coming through that kind of device, then it can read and execute commands interactively. Okay, when called with a file name argument or with a file as standard input, it reads and executes a script from that file. Okay, so directly if you are taking some input from the standard input, okay, from a TTY device, then it will read and execute that. And otherwise, if some kind of file name argument you have taken, file is your standard input, in that case it will read and execute the script from that particular file. Okay, so after that, another way is also there for starting the interpreter, and that is this particular command, that is python -c command and then arg. Okay, arg means arguments. So which executes the statements in command. So here whatever this command is written, it means actually some statements actually you can write here. Okay, which is analogous to the shell's -c option. Okay, so if you have used shell, then maybe you have used -c option. So it is similar to that only. Okay, just that Python you have to add in front. Okay, and then commands you can write. That's it. So since Python statements often contain spaces or other characters that are special to the shell, it is usually advised to quote command in its entirety. Okay, so what is the meaning of this line? That here some commands you are writing, some statements you are writing. Now definitely it is possible that the statement will contain spaces also, some white spaces it will contain. Now if it sees spaces, it will separate that and it might interpret the instruction in some other way, in a wrong way. Okay, so if you don't want that, then in that case, that entire command you should put inside quotation. Okay, then it will understand that this entire thing is one single command and it will execute it in that way. Okay, so through this, whatever interpretation will be there, that will be correct. Okay, now some Python modules are also useful as scripts. Okay, these can be invoked using python-m module arg. Okay, so some Python modules are also there which are as useful as a script. So how can you include that in your code? By writing this command, which is python-m, okay, module. So it executes the source file for module as if you had spelled out its full name on the command line. Okay, so it works in such a way that the entire full name of the module and all you have mentioned in the command line. Okay, so that is how it works. So these are little advanced level, so that is why even if you're not getting it, it is okay, because these are not very much required directly in our basic programming. Okay, so in detail we will see these things later. Now, when a script file is used, it is sometimes useful to be able to run the script and enter interactive mode afterwards. Understood? So what is happening? That if you are using, let us say, some kind of script file, okay, so there can be such situations where you want that the script should run first, and after that you want to enter in the interactive mode, right? So for doing that, you can pass -i as the command before the script. So in that case, that will be done. Okay, after that, all command line options, other command line options are also there. So for that, if you want to visit, you can go to this command line and environment, and here multiple things are there, everything which is related to command line. Okay, so if you're a beginner, I will not suggest you, because here you might not understand most of the things. So it is better not to go there. Once you're comfortable with the basic programming, after that you can go and explore these things. Okay, all right. After that, we will see the next unit, which is your argument passing. Okay, now so what it means, right? So when known to the interpreter, the script name and additional arguments thereafter are turned into a list of strings and assigned to the arg variable in the sys module. Okay, so what happens, that if, let us say, if whatever names you are using, that is known to the interpreter, that means interpreter is aware of those things, then in that case, whatever script name has been used and whatever additional arguments you are using, all these things will be turned into a list of strings. Okay, about list in detail we will study later, but right now roughly you can understand a list, right? A combination of strings. Okay, and they are assigned to a variable whose name is going to be argv, okay, which is present in sys module. Clear? So you can access this list if you want, like the list is made, right? But if you want to access that list, in that case you can access it by importing sys in this manner. Okay, now the length of the list is at least 1. Okay, so remember this, whatever list is created, at least the length is at least 1. That means at least one element will definitely be present in that list. Okay, so if you are giving a script name additional arguments, then definitely the list will contain elements, right? But let us say you have not given any script and any arguments are not passed. In that case, what it will contain? It will contain that sys.argv of 0. That means the first element. That first element will contain empty string. So that is the meaning that at least one element will definitely be present. Even if you are not giving any argument or something, but still at least one empty string will be present. Clear? Now when the script name is given hyphen, let us say, okay, if you're giving the script name as hyphen, so it means actually standard input, and in that case the first element will be set to hyphen. That will become the first element. Okay, now when -c command is used, in that case the first element will be set to -c. Okay, so till here it is very obvious that whatever command we are giving, that is being set as the first element. Okay, but for this -m, the scenario is little different, and that is when -m module is used, the first element is set to the full name of the located module. So whatever the located module is there, for that whatever that expanded full name is there, that will be your first element. Okay, so options found after -c command or -m module are not consumed by the Python interpreter's option processing, but left in sys.argv for the command or module to handle. So if you see in this entire para, everything has been discussed about the first element, right? So that first element will be processed by the interpreter. Rest of the arguments which is passed, that will not be directly processed, okay? But that will remain in that particular sys.argv. Okay, in that variable it will remain, but will not be processed immediately. If some kind of instructions or something is written, then after that it will get processed. Okay, so I hope this para is clear to you. And after this, we will see the interactive mode. Okay. So when commands are read from a TTY, as I said, teletypewriter, right, which is the standard input device considered. So when commands are read from such kind of devices, the interpreter is said to be in interactive mode. Clear? So in this mode, it prompts for the next command with the primary prompt. Okay, so always whenever you are hitting enter in the very next line, it will always prompt for the next command like that. Okay, and that primary prompt is denoted by three greater than signs. So in the terminal, you can see like this three greater than sign, as you can see the image also here. Okay. For continuation lines, it prompts with the secondary prompt. So there are two types of prompt. One is primary, other one is secondary. Secondary prompt is denoted by triple dots, as you can see in this particular figure. Okay, here you see like this triple prompts are used. Okay, all right. The interpreter prints a welcome message stating its version number and a copyright notice before printing the first prompt. So let us say the very first prompt is there where you have written this, where you are invoking the interpreter, right? So after that, first of all, the version and all this copyright and everything will be displayed. First of all, the details, okay? After that, your first primary prompt will appear, and from this point, you can start writing your instructions, okay? Then continuation lines are needed when entering a multi-line construct. Understood? So whenever multi-line construct is there, like for example, here if is given, right? If is multi-line. Why? Because first of all, in the first line we write if and then condition, and then we go inside the block and we write some command, right? So it always becomes multi-line kind of thing. Same goes with loop also, while loop if you use or for loop if you use, right? There are multi-line constructs, those are, okay? So in that case, what you have to do, continuation line has to be provided, which is provided by this triple dots, okay? So you see here also triple dot and here also. So this you have to be careful of, okay? So for if you want to study more about interactive mode, you can go here and study. But right now I will be showing you till now here whatever we discussed. Okay. So let me go to the terminal. And so this is the terminal. Okay. And here, as we said that first of all, we have to invoke the interpreter, right? So we can write Python 3. Okay. .11 also you can write, but by Python 3 also it will come. Okay, so as you can see, the version is displayed here, and after that this whatever was written in documentation also, type, help, copyright, so these things you can type and you can see all the information under this will appear. Okay, so now you see this thing that here this triple greater than sign is coming, which means it is the primary prompt. Okay, so here now you can write whatever you will write now, it will be considered as your Python code. Okay, all right. So if I write the first line, let us say a is equal to 2 I am writing, and then let us say I am writing only a. In that case, the value of the variable will be printed. Okay, then if I want to print something, I can print it. So let us say I'm writing here print hello. In that case, the word hello is printed. Okay, now if let us say I want to print b, right? Now you see till now any b variable is not there, in that any value is also not there. So let us see what will happen. So here it is giving me error, that is your name error. That means this name b, it is not defined, and that is why it cannot print any value. Okay, so like this. So as you see here, whatever I am typing, like here I typed a is equal to 2, and then when I hit enter, in that case the next primary prompt is appearing. Okay, so why it is primary prompt? Because three greater than signs are there, right? Here also primary, here also primary, so everywhere primary prompt, line by line it will keep on coming. Okay, so that was what discussed in the documentation as well. Okay, all right. Now let us see that if part, right? So if I write here if, so I am writing a different condition as compared to the doc. Let us say directly I am writing if true. So if the condition is true, then what to do? So you see that secondary prompt is coming now, which was mentioned in the documentation, that three dots will appear, right? And so directly if I write here print hi, let us say, in that case what will happen? So see, it is giving us error, right? It is giving us error message. And okay, so what kind of error is coming? Indentation error is coming. Okay, so it is saying expected an indented block after if statement. Okay, so like this, like that, it is giving the error message. So why it is coming? Let us understand that. So basically here indentation is not followed. Okay, actually what is happening, if true we have written, this is the condition. Now it is expecting some code inside the if block, right? But here this print is there now, it is not inside the block, it is outside of the if block. Okay, and for going inside it we have to give one tab, so that is missing, and because of that it is giving indentation error. Okay, so let us do that. So we have to write if true. Okay, in that case again the same thing is coming, right? Okay, so now here you have to press this tab. Okay, so did you notice you have to press this tab? After that you have to print this hi. Okay, so now you see the double dot came, which was coming in the documentation as well. Okay, so that will come, and now if you hit enter, now hi got printed. Okay, so this is how it will be done. Okay, so this is your secondary secondary prompt, and this was your primary prompt. Okay, so these two are coming as it was mentioned in the documentation. Okay, all right. So now let us try to exit also, right? Let us try to exit from here. So as the command was written quit, so I can type this and hit enter, and now you see it got quit, and now here I can write something else, but this will not be Python now. Okay, so if again I write here print and then hi, so this is now it is saying something unknown file attribute, because now the interpreter is not present. We have come out of that by this end of file character. Okay, so like that it works. Okay, so you can do this kind of practices in your system also. Okay, and if you face any doubt, then you can ask me. So after that we will go back to the doc, and then so this topic is completed, and after that here what is there about little bit encoding they have mentioned here. So let us see that. So by default Python source files, okay, are treated as encoded in UTF-8. UTF means Unicode Transformation Format. Okay, and 8 means 8-bit. Okay, so according to 8-bit, according to this format, whatever our source files are there, they are interpreted in that way. Okay, so in this particular encoding, characters of most languages in the world can be used simultaneously in string literals. Okay, we will use strings, we write identifiers, right? We write commands. So all these things we can write using the characters which are present in UTF-8. Okay. Now, although the standard library only uses ASCII characters for identifiers, a convention that any portable code should follow. So if you see the standard libraries, they use ASCII characters, but it is not a problem. It interprets correctly. Okay. Now, to display all these characters properly, your editor, whatever editor you are using, that must recognize UTF-8, right? So whatever editor you are using, that should recognize UTF-8. Otherwise, it will not interpret the characters in the right way. Okay, and also whatever font you are using, that should support all the characters which are present in UTF-8. Only then it will interpret the characters correctly, and the instructions and the commands will be right. Otherwise it will be wrong. Okay, so make sure it does that. Actually nowadays all the systems comes with all this, means they support all this UTF-8 and all, so any such extra check is not required. But still, if you face some difficulty, then you can check the encoding and all. There might be some issue may be present. Okay, all right. Now let us say the standard encoding is this only, that is UTF-8. Okay, but if you want to declare some different kind of encoding. Okay, in that case, one special comment you have to add at the first, as the first line of the file. Okay, this should be the first line of the file, and the syntax is this, which is mentioned here, so you can see it clearly. Okay, so where encoding is one of the valid code, C is supported by Python. Okay, so here whatever encoding you will mention, that should be such which is supported by Python. Otherwise, of course, it will not interpret the characters properly. Okay, so here one example is also given. Let us say you want to declare that Windows 1252 encoding you want to use. In that case, you have to mention that as the first line, okay, of your source code, and the first line will be this. So like this you have to mention, and then that particular encoding you can use. If you're not writing anything, by default it will consider as UTF-8. Okay, and one exception is there, like as it is said that always this encoding comment should be the first one, but there is one such exception where it should not be the first line, it should be the second line. Okay, and that is this particular case. So the case is to the first line rule in is when the source code starts with a Unix shebang line. In this case, the encoding declaration should be added as the second line of the file. Okay, so if your code starts with this line, in that case the encoding line will be the second one. Otherwise, in all other cases, it should be the first line. Okay, so this is what is given in this particular document of using the Python interpreter. So this was the brief idea about the interpreters. Okay, so in the next lecture we are going to study about an informal introduction to Python. So here little bit we will discover numbers and strings, list and all. Okay, so stay tuned with us. I am ending the lecture here. Thank you.